Perfect. All right. So, hey everyone, I'm Kigyo, and I only have 5 minutes and 11 slides to go through, so I'll jump right into it. My motivation for this talk is that I've seen countless visual novels with really pretty UI that are nonetheless basically unreadable. That's why I won't be going over aesthetic principles, and rather will just explain how you can make your visual novel easier to read. If you've ever done research on something, you'll likely have come across scientific papers that are structured like this, with multiple columns. But why do they do that? If you think it's to save space, that's halfway right. They reduced the text size to save space and introduced the columns because otherwise the lines would be way too long. What do I mean by that? In short, shorter lines are a lot more reader friendly. Long lines feel like a daunting wall of text and are more exhausting to read and harder for our eyes to follow. On the other hand, shorter lines are a lot more approachable and subconsciously make the reader feel like they're making more progress. This tricks them into thinking they're actually having fun. Okay, but seriously, in games where most of what you're doing is reading, you should make that as easy and fun for them as possible. Now, a super quick slide on two other factors, line spacing and kerning. My advice here is to just keep it normal, honestly. Most fonts come with good default settings, so if you should only change them if there's too much or too little space between characters or lines. So, yeah, I'm not really going to go into more detail, but both of those are either the horizontal or vertical space between your characters and lines. So, how does this translate to visual novels? Obviously, you don't have to, and probably shouldn't, divide your text box into columns, but you should stick to 70 to 80 characters per line at most. This stays true no matter what your text size is. So small text needs shorter lines, and large text needs longer lines. One thing I've noticed is that visual novels with text that's too small also tend to have lines that are too long. You can fix two problems at once and just increase your text size. I promise you can still make your visual novel look good and stylish and unique while following this advice. As proof, the mandatory shill slide. As you can see, my games have a bunch of different text box styles while still following those rules. So I really hope you can see it's not anything too restrictive. Now, I already hear you, so I'm going to stop you right there. I know there's popular examples that don't follow those rules, so it's not an excuse. In fact, this talk was inspired by me playing Root Double last fall. The text basically goes from one end of the screen to the other. This makes the eyes move around way too much and exhausts them, and it's a 50-hour game, so please, never do this. The good news is that depending on your text box, it can really be an easy fix. Here's a before and after Zedekin kindly allowed me to show from the game of Fortune. You can see the old text on the left is really tiny, which basically makes it disappear into the screen. Though now, the bigger text is a clear improvement. Changes like this can really make your game more appealing and fun to read. Just pay attention that when you do change it, you should double check your longest text blocks and make sure they don't overflow. Either way, I'm currently playing the Game of Fortune on my Steam Deck and having a great time with it, which leads me to my next point. You never know what kind of screen and or eyesight your players have. They might play it on a really small screen or a really big one, like the Steam Deck in your hand or on the TV or something. So if you still insist on your default looking a certain way, or honestly, even in general, the best thing you can do is leaving the choice up to the player. Shown here are the smallest and largest text settings in my game Artificial Selection. As you can see, I tied the text width to the text size. This is convenient for me since it won't mess up line breaks I added, and it also makes sure the lines stay an appropriate length for the player to read. Now we're almost done, but I have one more trick you can use if you're still not sure if your text box should be improved. Chances are that you're already doing it. It's really simple. Just upload a single screenshot of your game on social media. That's it. If you can read the text from just the preview on your phone without heavy squinting, then you're probably doing pretty good. Otherwise, I hope you know what to do now. And that's it. Thank you. Now I'll stick around for questions.
Awesome. That was everyone's saying that's a really clever trick. Let's test that. Okay, got 5 minutes for questions, guys. Any questions for making text files better? There are a lot. There were a lot of like kerning jokes just before. Uh-huh. Resizing line length, the font size is smart. Yep. I have to scroll. Oh, and a lot of LaTeX jokes. Yes, I know how to pronounce LaTeX. So. Okay. Someone's asking, do you find a certain color needs to be avoided?
Ah, um, I don't think there's rules on any specific colors, but I guess the most important thing is just contrast. So, like, if you have a black text box, then you will probably want lighter text so it stands out better. And I guess neon colors can be irritating usually, but as long as it's usually balanced, I think it should be fine. But yeah,
I've noticed that when I do like photo and Photoshop things, like text pops out if you just add like a half pixel of black outline to text. It's very subtle, like semi-transparent, but it really helps with the contrast.
right.
All right. Is there already an option to tie text width to text size in RenPy, or is this a custom thing?
As far as I know, there's no built-in way to do this. I used like the UI rebuild function to check what the text size is and then divide it by the total width of the text box. So yeah, it's a bit of a hack, but I got it to work somehow.
Oh, someone suggested there's a tool called WebAIM, WEB-AIM, that says that there's a color checker online tool that helps with readability. So we could try looking at that.
Oh,
Uh, Someone says saying, I'm going to skip this one for a second. How high up and transparent should a text box be on average so that a player doesn't have to bounce up and down from the words to the images?
I think probably having the text box in the lower around quarter of the screen should be fine, but it also depends like where the faces of your sprites are, since usually that's what the player looks at. So if the sprites are really far away and the heads are high up on the screen, then you might want to move up the text box accordingly. But if it's usually close-ups of faces, then the text box can also be pretty low, I think.
Okay. And one person asks, do you find outlines on normal dialogue text to be a good thing, or is it too powerful?
I think it's usually a good thing. I've never seen a case where it really hurts unless the color of the outline itself somehow makes the contrast worse. But yeah,
Okay,
usually
so
it
no
helps.
rainbow drop shadow on all my text. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last question for this answer. Would you they're talking about your text width, linking text width to text size. Would you be willing to share code for this?
Honestly, yeah, I was thinking about it and I kind of used this talk to see if there actually was a built-in way to do it, so it's good to have
All right.
confirmation.
All right. Well, Python's going to be having a talk later today, so we can see if he can have something. Otherwise, you can always just link your code.
Right. Perfect. Yeah, I can make a
Cool.
plugin.
All right, but thanks so much for your talk. This is the first of two talks about UX, and I just smashed you both together. So I will, the next speaker, I have lost my tab. The next speaker, Maddie, can get set up. And yeah, thank you.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. I see your avatar.
Okay. And I was not able to practice today, so just trying to find where the screen share is.
Okay.
This is changed.
There we go.
Sorry about this.
No problem.
I used Zoom a long time ago, and it is.
Very good.
Oops, sorry. Okay.
All right. You have anything coming up?
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay,
I see
awesome.
something happening.
Okay.
Well, all right, I see your slides. It's all yours.